Alright. What's up, YouTube? Man, it's hot. There's 100 degrees in the shed. Woo! Man. Look at that. I can't wait for it to cool off. Too dang hot out here. Alright, what this video is today, I made it like 3 times. It's like the third one. I'm going to try not to make it so long this time. Okay, what we have is a Savage XL 5.9 brushless electric conversion. Okay, if you want to do this, here's what you got to do. Here's one now. That's I've already stripped out. You know, it's got the, you got to take all your motor out. You got to take everything that you ain't going to use in there out, right? So, in case you don't know, it's got the gas tank, the throttle servo. You don't need that no more. You don't need the air filter. You get the idea. This little on and off switch. And I think I took this handle off. Anyways, take all the old parts off, put them in a box, sell them on eBay, right? Or save them or do whatever you want with them. Now, we are left with the bare bones hole now. Right? Throttle stuff, everything's out of there. Okay. I didn't do anything to the transmission. It's the same transmission that came with the 3-speed, I believe it is. It doesn't have any brakes after the conversion, but I left that in there. You can take it out if you want. I left that in there. And I was like, okay. Walking on YouTube, I was like, how am I going to get that big-ass motor to fit in there? There's the motor and how it is set up there, but this is, I bought another one because I'm going to convert this one as well. This one come out of my E-Revo. I hit a T-post. And it just blew up. There it is down there. But I had the 6S system for that. It's the Mamba Max 2. You see it down there? It's the Mamba Max 2 6S, and it's got the big 2200 kV motor. So I bought another one. This one says this is what I'm going to be using. Okay, 60,000 RPM. It came in the, it's a 15 series, and it has the big speed control Mamba, but this is the Mamba X, I guess. 6S LiPo. That's what I'm going to be putting in there. It's basically the same thing that's in there in this one. Okay? It was $275 for that, but I already had this one laying around. Now what I did was, it's like, how is that going to fit in there? Because I set it down here. The pinion don't line up, right? There's no way it's going to fit in there with the pinion, too. Look, there's no room. I was like, am I going to go up high like they do those T-Max conversions? I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I looked online. I looked at the Savage Flux. And the Flux, the motor's hanging off the side like this. See how it's sitting off to the side? You can see there's the plate, how it hangs off. I was like, okay, so that's how they do it. It hangs off to the side, then the pinion fits and everything. So what I did was I had the Savage Flux motor mount set, which is this, and it comes with these bolts already, and it comes with these mounts. And then I got the Flux plate. It's a piece of aluminum, and it's got pre-heat drilled holes. But it's supposed to be turned this way. I got it in there sideways. But all I did was use it for the mounting plate for my setup, right? So I left the original engine mount plate in there, and all I did was take that plate and drilled a couple holes in it. Here, I think there's 3, and then there's one underneath this motor. And I came over here and I drilled like 1, 2. I might even have used that plate hole. I don't remember, but there's another hole, and the third one. It's all juicy. I've been sweating down here. Jeez. So there's 3 holes mounting it, so that you can mount that plate to it. Okay, so now it's attached to the frame. I just used whatever I had laying around. A couple screws there. There's one there, and then I think there's one there. Now that's for the motor mount. There's one there for the motor mount, one there for the motor mount. I got a little close to the drive shaft. Be careful when you're drilling. Make sure you're looking through which way, you know, make sure you're not going to hit that drive shaft or anything when you're drilling. Because I used a little drill, but I also used this little metal bit that goes on your Dremel, and it cuts through it like butter. So you just push down and drill your hole, but you could use a drill whatever. And this is how I cut it, the frame. Let me show you what I did there. So I took that piece of that motor plate. It wasn't going to fit in there. So I came over here and I marked it and I cut right there. And I cut right there. And then I cut right there. So I just cut it. And this whole little piece came out. And I cut it right there too. So 1, 2, and I cut it down so that that other metal plate will sit and it's not going to hit any of this. And I think I cut it there and there. So as you can see, it's missing over here. And then I mounted that metal plate to it. And then I needed to mount the motor to the plate. So y'all put my pinion on. I lined it up where I wanted it, made sure it was meshed right, because there's no adjustment in this really. And I kind of drilled the holes oblong so I could have a little adjustment. But basically, I just lined it up so I had a little bit of play and it wasn't going to strip out and it was straight. Then I took like a piece of cardboard and I put these plates, you know, with the motor attached, because you can attach it to your motor. I didn't have to drill any of this. You know, some people say you got to grind that off. You don't have to grind any of those heat sink fins off. It grips it right on the end. Okay, there's those plates. So I mounted it. I mounted both the motor in those motor mounts. Tightened it up. Put the pinion on, and I sat it down on that plate. Now, when I sat it on that plate, right here, these bolts, I had to make a little hole in the plate for those bolts to sit down in there so that it would be flush. Otherwise, it was sitting up on those bolts right here. So see, it comes with those bolts. There's one. I just attached it. I just sat it in there and I used a piece of cardboard to make my holes where I wanted them on this plate. I marked it with the marker and then I drilled them. And then I had the plate and everything. I made sure it all fit in there right and meshed up line. Then I attached it and sunk all the bolts, tightened everything up. And that's it. Now, excuse me. Whew. Now for the electronics. The electronics, I had a Savage. I got a bunch of these Savages, but I had a motor plate laying around because I had another. I was trying to make a brushless conversion on one of these 21s, 28s, the 25s. The purple motor plate that comes in these, the 21, 28, 25, I think they're all the same. I think even the 4.3, the bigger, whatever it is, I think it's the same. It has that purple motor plate. So the motor plate, it has a way to attach to the frame already. And it's the same width, as you can see. It's the same width as the body rails on the 5.9. See it in there? You can see the rails, how they fit in there? So all I had to do was drill a couple holes, because it sits down in there between the frame rails perfectly. Then I just drilled through the frame for that hole that goes there, and one there. It comes with the, I didn't put one in back there, but it's right here, and then I use that one. So it's got 3 bolts in it, but it fits in between the frame rails perfectly. And it already has a way to attach it, so you just drill you a couple holes, and then that plate sits there. You can do whatever you want, but it's solid. It ain't coming out of there, and that's where the speed control sits, and the receiver. Now the receiver, or the cable to the steering servo, was too short, because I mounted the, normally the receiver goes up here, but I mounted it on that plate, and the steering servo line was too short, so I added an extension, and then I put it in this little wire sleeve. You can get it in your electrical department at Lowe's, just to keep it nice and from fraying. And that's it. And then the batteries, I just mounted them back here in the bumper area. As you can see, this is it's the Easy Peak Dual. It's the one that it has 2 batteries, or 2 5000s that come with this, but they already had the Trax connection, because that's what the speed control came with. So I got that charger, and these are the deals with no LiPo connection. It has a LiPo connection, but you don't have to plug them in separately. And that's it. I just zip tied them together and taped them together and zip tied them on the rear. This thing's solid, man. I got to show the video of this thing running. It'll do it said it would tear up the transmission. That's the original 3-speed. It doesn't have reverser or brakes. But dude, woo! I'm gonna tell you what. This thing will wheelie. It'll flip over on its top. It'll do a wheelie in third gear and just whoop and just flip over if you keep punching it. Now I drive it like the Nitro, so I take off easy, and once it gets rolling, then I give it some gas, and then I roll into the throttle. And I'm gonna tell you what, it is fast as lightning. It'll smoke that. This was the biggest production engine they put in an RC truck, I believe, and it'll eat that for lunch, man. I'm telling you, it is freaking fast. Fast, fast, fast. You flip over if you just tap it. In a 6S, you can run it off 4S, but the gears hold up. But this has a, I think that's an aftermarket, no, I think that's what it comes with. And as far as the pinion, I don't know, you can experiment. This needs a, I think it's a 5mm. It's 5 or 6, I'm not sure. But it's got a great big old shaft on it. But I don't know what that pinion is. It may be a 20. I don't know. I could get back to you on that. I'm not sure. But I don't care what pinion you got in it. This thing's nuts. It is nuts. It's a beast. It's my favorite truck now. Well, I got a lot of stuff in here. But it's my favorite one, man. Look at that beast. Anyways, that's how you do it. It's extremely fast. And I ran with these low-C LXT2 tires, and it would slow down pretty good with those. This thing, you just gotta, with the original tires, you gotta kind of go right, left, or maybe hit the grass to slow down a little bit. But I wanted to show you something else. You don't have to pay. You need these motor mounts, but this plate, you can make it. I went to a place called The Yard. It's where they sell metal, steel. You could use a piece of steel or whatever. I was like, okay, I just need a piece of aluminum. So what I did, I looked at how thick that plate was from the flux. And I went to The Yard and they sell this. This is a 2x4. And they use it in construction. And it comes in like 10-foot, 8-foot sections, It's basically a metal aluminum 2x4. Now, to use this, I went in, I took an 8-foot piece. I said, here, I want 3 inches or whatever it was. So you could measure how deep it is in here, right? You just need enough for those motor mounts to mount on. This one, actually, I needed it to be a little longer. Like a 4-inch piece, 4-inch long by however wide this is. It's 2x4, so 4x4 would have been perfect. But you can just, you can see it's almost, it's a little bigger than that. But this was $3. I think $2.50, $3. Then you take your pin, right? And you get like a, just make it a little longer, it'd be perfect. Get like a 4-inch piece. Then you just mark your little end. And you cut that with the Dremel tool like I showed you, that bit. It'll cut right through that like butter. I'm sweating on it. Then you got your nice flat piece, the same thickness as this, right? You get it? It's the same thickness. It's aluminum. It's $2 versus $27. It doesn't have all the holes drilled in it. But then, of course, this would be a little wider, and this railing needs to be cut off, like I showed you. And then this will stick out. It'll be flat. Then you mount it to that plate with some screws. There's a couple washers, whatever, however you can attach it. 2 bolts, 3 bolts. It ain't going anywhere once you put at least 3 in it. And then you'll have your nice flat piece. And it'll look like that. See, it's nice and flat. Then you attach it to that bottom motor mount that's in there already, and then you'll have your nice flat piece, but it won't have them holes, and you can put your holes wherever you want. Drill them, right? It'll be flat in there. Then you take those motor mounts, you attach it to this plate, and then you attach your motor to that piece of aluminum. Of course, it'll be flat, and it'll be sitting. It'll be flat, and it'll be flat, and it'll be sitting down. But then you got room for your pinion. It'll be sitting off like this, off to the edge. And see, you'd want that piece a little bit thicker. See, it needs to be a little bit longer this way, so you'd have more mounting area. But then it'll stick off like that.